Hi Lauren.
Hey Sugarscape.
So we've got some Sugarscape reader questions for you today.
Excellent.
About your book. So what was it about fallen angels that captured your imagination? This is from Lydia Jones.
Well, the first thing that brought me into this series was actually not angels, it was love. I was inspired by a line in Genesis that talks about fallen angels who looked down from heaven, saw mortal women, and thought that they were beautiful, fell in love with them, gave up their place in heaven for love. To me, to sacrifice everything about your identity, who you are, what you do, for maybe an untested love seemed chaotic and potentially doomed, but certainly like a fantastic beginning to a love story. And so I wanted to follow it and see where it went. The more I learned about angels, the more fascinating they became to me. I think they straddle a line between God and mortals. They are sort of in this very interesting liminal space where all sorts of things are possible. I think it works really well with a teen protagonist because teens are sort of in this in-between liminal space too, and I think that's part of the reason why Luce is drawn to Daniel. But yeah, I think angelology is this incredibly rich vein to sort of have in the background of this world and to set my own mythology against. It's been a great resource to me to have angel lore in the books.
And Shirlin asked, where do you get the idea of Luce being reborn again and again?
I've always been fascinated with reincarnation. I've had one very strong sensation of déjà vu that I was absolutely certain I was a Scottish soldier charging an Irish castle, storming into battle, and that feeling, my heart racing and my just feeling the blood kind of pounding in my body, made me so fascinated with what else is out there, what else is possible, what else is contained within us, what history and what pasts. And I imagine that's where Luce's character comes from.
Okay. And Jess asked, who is your favourite character in the book, besides Luce, if she is?
I think my favourite character is Arian. She was in the beginning anyway. She's the crazy character. She's that friend who makes you do things that are quite out of your comfort zone, but can always make you laugh when no one else can make you laugh. I think when Arian comes into the scene, it's like somebody's opened up a window and let in fresh air. She's very easy for me to write. Of course, I also love Cam. He's probably the most delicious bad guy I've ever conceived of, and his scenes write themselves.
Okay. The Suki wants to know, were any of the characteristics of Luce and Daniel based on people that you knew already?
Luce is based loosely on my oldest closest friend, and so there are some traits that Luce has in common with my friend Megan. But of course, the more fictional objects you throw in your characters' paths, they grow and change and do things that surprise you. So when Luce started to veer away from something that Megan would think or do, I was really happy because it meant she was becoming herself. Daniel's character really grew out of Luce. Excuse me. Daniel's character really grew out of Luce and who she is and what she's missing and how he can fill in the space around her.
Okay. Monica has kind of asked / begged, can you tell us one line from Rapture other than the prologue?
Oh no.
No, complete secret. I thought that's what you might say. Okay, some personal questions. Laura asked, why did you decide to be an author?
I always loved storytelling. I've always been writing. Stories were just something that my brain fastened around very naturally. When I was a little kid, it was all sorts of writing. Poems, songs, plays, stories, whatever. And now I guess I've focused in on one aspect of writing. And I think narrative is what makes our world interesting. And I'm just thrilled to get to do that every day.
Theon asked if you could go back in time and kind of see your own life. Is there anything that you would change?
No, I don't think so. there are certainly moments I look back and I am less proud of than others, but especially writing Lucinda's past, some of these lives that she goes back and visits, she doesn't like who she's been. It's important for her to face that and see it, but there's nothing she can do to change it, and I think that that's something I believe very strongly in. I don't want to block things out, but I don't want to change anything either.
And the love in the book's very intense. Did you draw on your own experience of love for this?
Sure.
Is it kind of more fantasy?
I think it's, there's a little bit of me on every page of the book, and it shows up in smaller moments, but my husband proposed to me the weekend that I started writing the prologue of Fallen. So in a sense, my own romance has sort of been infused in the series from the beginning. That said, Cam is based on my husband, so the bad guy is actually the one I'm married to, but we like it like that.
Dorney asked if you had any other book projects going on outside of this series.
I have a plan for a trilogy after Fallen is finished. I'm very excited about it. I'm still brooding on it. I've had this one sentence in my mind for the past year, and I knew the predicament, but I didn't know the girl, and I have finally just figured out who she is, and it was a very exciting moment. Usually I'll wake up in the morning and I'll just sort of know something, and this morning was a few months ago. I woke up and I suddenly knew who she was and why it mattered. So I'm really excited about it. After Fallen, start thinking about writing that one.
Okay. Kay wanted to know if you're going to do anything vampire-based.
No, I don't have any plans to do anything with vampires. There's some vampire lore that I really love, but I can't say it's anything I've been particularly inspired to dive into in my own writing.
Yeah. Any mythology that you would want to explore, do you think?
Sure, yeah. But I'm keeping my mouth shut on that for a little while.
Wait and see. Sherlyn wanted to know about finding a good editor. Like, how difficult is it, and do they help you with your writing?
Finding a good editor is very much like falling in love and finding the right person who gets you and can make you the person that you want to be. I used to work as an editor, and I'm very devoted to the editorial process and to the process of revision, and so for me, finding that person who can really help my books soar and help them find their way from a first draft to a second draft, it's a huge part of the process. I think you have to know something innately is right when you get constructive criticism. I would say some of it feels immediately right. Yes, why didn't I think of that? That's what I'm going to do in the second draft. Some of it feels immediately wrong. That's not the kind of story I'm telling. I know that that's not the direction this book or this character needs to take. The most interesting editorial direction is the stuff that doesn't feel good at first. It sounds like a whole lot of work, and you already felt like your book was pretty good, and you're kind of done thinking about this one scene, and somebody's asking you to change every single thing about it. And you sit on it, and maybe an hour later or 2 days later, you start thinking, that person's right, I've got to do all that stuff. I think that's when you know you have a good editor, and it doesn't have to be a person working at a publishing house. It can be your friend down the street. It can be a relative. I've had tons of good readers over the course of my writing career who have become very dear editors to me. They're worth seeking out. They're hard to find, but hold on to them when you get them.
Good answer. And lastly, Roswana wanted to know if there was any movie in the coming up or anything going on with the books in terms of...
Oh, the movie. Disney's optioned the film rights, so yeah, it's very exciting. They have, I think, just finished the script, and then they'll start the casting, and I can't wait to see what they do with it. I think the guys who are producing it are really excited, and it's all good signs so far.
Oh wow, okay, we'll look forward to that. Okay, thank you very much.
Sure, thank you, Sugarscape.